happening. Okay, it's preparing. Let's see, setting up meeting. Wish I could turn off all my notifications too.
Oh, right.
I think we are live. Okay, let's see. Yay. Okay, we are.
All right.
I'm going to turn off all my notifications too.
Oh, right.
Live. Okay, let's see. Pausing. Yay. Okay, we are live, y'all. I'm Emily Jackson, and this is Dr. Stephanie RImka. Thank you for joining us tonight. We know that you could be anywhere, and we are so blessed to have her. I know her as Stephanie. We talk on the phone, but she's like a world-renowned doctor. You guys, she specializes in brain and gut health, and I feel like she is the best person for us to be at least asking questions that we all have, right? This is a natural supplement that we're taking and having amazing results. But my team, you guys, Dr. RImka's team has questions. So we thought we would put it on the team page tonight and just have the Q&A answered. We are not doing questions on the live. So if you're putting questions, we can't see it. We're in a Zoom streaming so that she's not distracted and I'm not distracted. But I have a list of some questions that people have sent in and would love for you to answer.
Okay.
I want to say now, guys, she is a little hoarse.
And my voice is a little bit, I'm gonna, as long as they can hear this, if we're good, you know.
We'll take it any which way that we possibly can. Okay, so let's talk Zenith.
All right.
What is average normal weight loss? Let's just say, let's go there, and you can explain anything you want to explain about.
We'll be short on that. I think it's pretty simple. But with any program, anything, I think anything, I'll always talk about healing because health and healing is my domain. Realistic expectations really are going to set you up for success or failure. Are you going to quit too soon because you had a completely unrealistic expectation? If you get married and you think you're never going to fight, good luck with that, right? It's the people who know what's going to come and they last and they persevere and they know how to have some resilience. So saying that with this, healthy average weight loss, what people should be able to expect 1/2 pound to 2.5 pounds a week. That would be, so 2.5 is on the high end. Some people, we might even push 3 if they're really obese. You will have these exceptions of, in the beginning, somebody who's severely obese, morbidly obese can drop 5 or 10 pounds a week for 1 to 2, maybe weeks at the most. That is significant water weight that is coming from this severe inflammatory bodily response they have. When they get a relief, when you stop poisoning them or you give them something, the body says, and it exhales a bunch of stuff off with it, right? Stopping gluten can do that for people, for example. So 1/2 pound to 2.5 pounds, and women would be on the low end, men would be on the high end.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think that's good to have a realistic expectation because there are some that we watch the testimonials and they're losing 4, 5, 6 pounds. And then you've got somebody that doesn't lose anything for 2 to 3 weeks and then loses a couple of pounds. Is that normal?
Incredibly normal. There's a reason it's an 8-week human trial and you see the majority of the weight loss coming in the 2nd month. Hormonal signaling, supplement signaling. This is not exactly a signal molecule, but we are changing the way things are communicating. That takes time. What it looks like to me in the, first beta group of 500 tests and the other situation and 200, the people I have on, and I also have a group of 500 as well. So 1,000 some people, or let's say, that I've seen and had information and data from. It sure seems like, I don't have this objective, but the subjective interpretation is the more inflamed somebody is, and obese is inflammation, but you can be skinny inflamed, right? You can have Lyme disease or mold illness or all kinds of things. You look at somebody's numbers, it's like, wow, marathon runners, cyclists, long endurance and distance endurance people are usually highly inflamed inside, even though they might be small looking, okay? Doesn't mean they're necessarily healthy. They seem to have a rapid response to the anti-inflammatory properties, and they will drop a lot really quickly. That seems to be the tone, but in general, no. Why would you expect something been fat for 16 years. Why do you think 6 days is supposed to make you skinny?
Well, I think people are just like, it doesn't work for me, you know?
Correct. That is incorrect. It is always working. You know, it is doing what it's designed to do. It will be lowering leptin. It will be increasing adiponectin. It will be going after adipose fat cells and causing the anti-inflammatory nature. Now, how long your fat cells have had a padlock on them to not know how to open, yours might take a little bit more work to pick that lock than somebody else, right? But you're doing things as instructed, following instructions, doing things as you're told to do, not going off label and making up all your own ways of doing things, which people do. You should expect to be consistent and then experience what's supposed to be happening in the second month. I'm happy for these people who get this rapid result initially. I did not have that at all. And yet these pants are falling off of me now, okay? And they were not a couple months ago, right? So patience is a definite virtue. You didn't get sick in a week. You want to take a little bit longer to get there. Yeah.
And measurements over the scale.
Oh yeah, it's really fascinating what this product is doing in terms of the redistribution, because people can have a lot of fat. You can have there's a whole term called normal weight obesity. People, you know, well, she's only 135 pounds, but mama is 55% body fat, you know, and she's got 9 pounds of visceral fat, meaning inside her organs, there's so much fat has penetrated inside the organs, literally choking it off, compressing her uterus, squeezing on her ovaries, no room for her digestion, liver is congested. That's a lot. For example, I have 0.3 pounds of visceral fat, 0.3, 1/3 of a pound, okay, less than a third. That's what we're looking for. I want a pound of visceral fat in somebody. I don't want 0. You need it. It feeds your organs, but your organs are not that hungry. They don't need 8 pounds of fat. Okay. It targets that highly dangerous, highly inflammatory fat that causes the heart attacks, the strokes, the brain disorders, and all, you know, all the cardiovascular risk. Number 1 killer is cardiovascular death. We cannot, you know, ignore that still. That's the fat this is going after. And so when people be like, it's only 5 pounds. Yes, it was literally the death strangle fat choking your organs. And so waist measurements, I've never seen anything take waist measurements so targeted down as this. And that is the dangerous fat. Junk in the trunk is not going to give you a heart attack, you know, but the junk in the front is a real big problem for men and women.
Will you explain the label, the HPMC, how it went from the cetylated fatty acids and polysaccharides to the new label? Will you explain
Yes.
what it is, and have they changed the formula?
Okay. Formula has not been changed. Nothing has been changed. There has been no bait and switch whatsoever. When anybody even mentioned this to me, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's exactly the same, because it's something called AKA, also known as alias, right? So what's my name, Emily?
Dr. Stephanie RImka.
I'll give you the full one. Dr. Stephanie Joy RImka. Some people call me Dr. RImka. Some people call me Stephanie. Some people call me Steph. Some people call me RImka. Nobody calls me Joy because you get knocked in the face. But that's all the same person, right? Same thing. So here's what we have. We have 2 ingredients. Nothing's ever changed, right? We have viscous polysaccharides. None of you know what the hell that is. It just means polysaccharide is a carbohydrate. It's always many saccharides is sugar. Always that. You're taking in tons of polysaccharides. Half of your supplements are polysaccharides. Every fulvic humic acid that everybody goes crazy, it's polysaccharide. Nothing but polysaccharide, okay? So polysaccharides are a big group. There's lots of little names underneath. Viscous polysaccharide can also be called HMPC. What does that stand for? That's a shortcut, like Steph, for hydroxypropyl methylcellulose. Hypromellose is another name. It's a shortcut name. So hypromellose, hydroxypropyl methyl, you know, same thing. Same exact thing. None of it has changed. It's an AKA. The Krebs cycle has 4 names. We say citric acid, Craig cycle, it's all the same thing. We have many names for things in science. It means exactly the same thing. It means you got to have a big vocabulary to read a paper. Okay, that's all it is. So that didn't change. What was the other one? Oh, the fatty acids. Acetylated is the same as esterified. Okay, esterified, acetylated fatty acids. There are 6 fatty acids that have been acetylated or esterified, changes how they perform and function. The trademark name of those 6 that have been put together a certain way is celadrin, I think it's how you say it, as I'm assuming. And they just, the label just became more specific. They just gave you full names of it's just kind of is more specific. The capsule is an HMPC as well. It's not the same HMPC. So HMPCs are a very big category, like cruciferous vegetables. A broccoli, a Brussels sprout, a cauliflower, they don't look the same. They're all under the same umbrella though, but we call that a broccoli. We call it that's a Brussels sprout. What are you talking about? That's not a broccoli. HMPC is a big category with a lot of little things underneath it, and they just call it all HMPC, just like we call it all water. It's not all the same water. Distilled is not reverse. It's not spring. It's not structured, right? It's not alkaline. It's not acidic. We say it's water. It's kind of like that distinction.
I think people Google instead of, that's their version of a doctor, is Googling, and they try to, they find different explanations. And so we just wanted to clear that up a little.
Well, let me clear up too, since you say that, let me do one thing. One, if you're still using Google, you need to wake up and stop doing it. Google is paid for and funded by pharmaceutical firms. They are incredibly anti-natural anything. You will find all negative information about all kinds of supplements. They'll tell you NAC will kill you. They'll tell you hormones will kill you. They'll tell you peptides are the devil. Pretty much anything they're going to tell you is bad for you is probably good for you, because they're funded by Big Pharma and the FDA, who are none of your friends. So I hope we don't use them for any search engine. You're not going to get unbiased information. They hide the natural websites. You will not find Joe Mercola. You will not find Josh Axe. You will not find the largest natural websites. They hide them. They're blackballing everybody. I'm probably pretty low on Google at this point. So be really careful. And their relationship, their funding with pharma is not hidden. They're public about it. They have a very strong agenda, and you will be getting incredibly biased information. Find a better search engine. Okay. Now, when people do put that HMPC, the hypromellose in there, they're seeing things about eye drops. So again, there's a very specific hypromellose that is used in ophthalmology. Not the same. There's also an HMPC that's used in concrete. Not the same. These aren't the same things. Okay. So, but it's in that same class of viscous polysaccharide, a cellulose, and then a soluble, non-fermentable fiber. It's in that category. So they can just call it that.
I appreciate you.
Does that help?
Much, yes. And I can say it all day long, but coming from you, it sounds so much better. And just y'all, Dr. RImka is a doctor, and we're so fortunate to have her on our team. But if you have any questions or you're on medication, check with your doctor. So she's just here helping explain some things. Okay.
As if they know what a viscous polysaccharide.
I know, right? That's so true. 100%. What is the difference? Okay, so the difference between the gel, let's say the gelatin, that was the capsule that we had
a beta
in the trial, right? In the beta test, the gelatin versus this vegetarian capsule. Like, what's the difference?
Not much. Okay, so basically, the industry standard is moving to an HMPC veggie capsule, this fiber capsule, because of a number of reasons. It lasts longer in storage. It resists low humidity. It doesn't get brittle and break. It helps deliver products actually that you put inside in a more even fashion. Some things that you put in, if you have a supplement that has an aldehyde group inside of it, it combines often with the gelatin, and it changes the whole way that the product delivers. We call it cross-linking. So you'll have a chemical reaction. with the gelatin, with some things.
I
So,
didn't notice any difference between the beta testing and this, truthfully.
well, we'll go into.
As far as the
we'll go into-
capsule or
yeah, the
anything.
capsule, it has the same dissolve time. They test the bad, this is the industry standard capsule. When I have had an occasional person say something like, it's not, oh my God, this thing is a dirty thing. And then I go, I don't even know what to say to you right now. And you're like, do you not know how to read? Because almost all the capsules in the industry are moving to this because gelatin gets brittle, it breaks down, they can't store it as well, it has cross-linking issues with chemical reactions, and it doesn't deliver things sometimes as well. I like gelatin capsules, I have no problem with them, but the majority, your capsules out there are going to be gelatin or this. Everything
And I checked my cabinet, they all were. All my thorn vitamins, all the veggie.
Everything,
Yeah.
pure encapsulations, metagen, I don't care what you're doing. This is what is used.
Awesome.
Period.
Okay, so big question right now, and I can even share my experience, but why would people, even such as me, but anybody at any weight, gain weight the first week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks of taking this product? And should they change what they're currently doing?
So there's a few things that could be at play with gaining weight. And we're going to go with the simplest and probably the most common. I'm gonna assume a good thing about people right now. And I'm gonna say the most common is water retention. And because this is fiber and it's designed to form a gel to puff up, right, in the stomach to grab things. And then it goes through the small intestine and it goes through the large intestine and it's grabbing things, fluid and bugs and stuff, and macros and carbohydrates and sugar and stuff. Right, is doing that. And then the Copeland's job is to like reabsorb water. Well, it can't. It's like, I'm not letting this go. Okay. So some of these people are not used to this fiber and this amount of it yet, right? It's a soluble, non-fermented fiber, kind of like what you find in beans, lentils, legumes. And if they aren't used to ingesting that, they're probably not taking in enough water to compensate for the initial adjustment the system is doing. And I really don't like them doing that because it will absorb the stomach acid instead and stuff like that. We're going to say that's the simplest thing. So because they're really not absorbing enough water, their body is then retaining water. It says, I'm not getting enough from my colon like I'm used to. And so hold on to everything, retain, right? It's what's happening. So I need more water. The solution is to drink more water. So I really think, so to kind of solve that problem, is go with the simplest thing. I'd probably stop for 1 to 3 days, depending on, let some of that water, I'd stop taking it. I'd drink more water, let the water weight kind of get out of you. I'd start at half dose and I drink 1 to 2 glasses of water per capsule that you take until your system gets really used to this. Yes, you will feel more full by doing that before you, that not going to hurt a fat person that eat a little less. I'm not going to lie, right? This is what it is, right? So, and then it's like, oh, you'll feel it. You'll notice. I had the same thing as you. I wasn't used to that amount of fiber and I retained and gained a little bit of weight. I knew right away, this has got to be water. There's no way I ate. You got to eat 3,500 calories to gain a pound extra. Right. I'm not eating, 10,000 pounds. That being said, there is, a couple psychological phenomenons that can happen when people embark on a weight loss journey. Okay, I'm going to the gym. I hired a trainer. I'm taking this thing. And they do a lot of things under the table to destroy their, now I got license to eat whatever I want. They overeat. They go after the dessert. They go after the alcohol. And let's not ignore, we just had Thanksgiving.
100%.
Which is a 4 to 5 day eating extravaganza. So was it the pill boo or was it all that pumpkin pie?
I think people think that they ate exactly this. I'm telling you. At first I was like, oh no, I don't eat that way. I ate for 6 straight days. My whole family was here. We're even after Thanksgiving and the leftovers, and you're having pizza. And
yeah,
I had the same.
Yeah. And 3 days later, everyone's like, I need steak and stuff because now I need something else, right? I'm just thinking, these are things, right? And there's a whole other psychological nocebo effect thing. I'm not going to get into too much psychology, but losing weight is a very psychological battle for many people. And there's a lot to be said for being terrified of actually coming out from hiding behind all that extra stuff protecting you.
Right. I could not agree more. I just want people to realize that it's normal, you know, and
Very common. The water weight retention thing. I mean, I deal with a lot of low carb, keto, carnivore people like me, and we just aren't used to ingesting that much fiber. So all I had to do was cut the dose down, drink more water, which I'm not used to doing actually. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, I drink like 5 of these a day, and I
don't drink any water normally.
my Ultima electrolytes in there. I do. But the same thing happened to me. I was doing 2 and 2, and I gained probably 4 or 5 pounds. Of course, I knew it was water. It was nothing else. But nobody wants to gain weight when we're trying to lose it. It's a mental thing.
Sure.
But I stopped it.
Yep.
I waited about 3 days, everything flushed, and then I took 1 and 1 and drinking water, and I'm having great success. So
that would be the way to do it. And like I said, let's go back to measuring, because this is very deceptive at where it takes things off, and it's going to go after your inflammatory pockets, especially the belly. And I would say in women, as we're getting older, I'll be 50 next month, you know, the estrogen kind of dominant looking, when our progesterone drops, we start gaining weight more in the arms, the belly, the hip. Like I have fat right now. I'm like, I don't even know what's happened. You know, like you wake up one day and you're like, well, that's new. Didn't know that fat could be. I mean, I don't even know what to say. There's a very strong pattern of it. It's going to go after that. So like if I'm addicted to that scale number and I'm not noticing, but do I see triceps now? You know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot of back fat going off women. You're not really it's not a drastic scale thing. I'm actually 10 pounds heavier than I was 3 years ago. And I fit back in my suits. I don't even, it doesn't make sense. I'm like that.
weight should not matter. Pounds on the
It was
scale.
insane. I'm like, how do these fit again? Because they weren't fitting. I thought I got to lose 10 more pounds. I got to lose 10 more pounds. No, you actually don't. Because what's happening, right? So the scale, I'm more a body composition. Not everybody can, do an in-body scan or a DEXA scan or something like that. But, and the home ones are decent. The home scales, bioimpedance, that's as long as it's consistent and I can see things moving down. If it says you're 27% body fat, but you're really 24, or you're really 31, I don't know, as long as it's consistent and we can track, that's what matters.
Okay, good. And how much do you really think people should be drinking? So it's 1 to 2 glasses each capsule.
When they're starting, it needs to be a lot, because a lot of people are not used to it. In general, I actually don't recommend a lot of water drinking. And I'm a little bit of an outlier. I'm very public about it. I would fall in line with a certain group of scientists that, just so people know, the water you drink does not go inside your cells. That's not how it works, but it is good for lymphatic cleaning, drainage. You really should be drinking to thirst, just like you should be eating to hunger, sleeping to fatigue, when you're tired, having sex when you're horny. I mean, these are normal biological drivers that you should just listen to your body. We have, however, deranged our normal signals with our lifestyle and fake foods and chemicals and lights, and we've really jacked things up. So I want people to get regulated again so they can learn to listen to a signal. However, with this, I would certainly start maybe on the high end of like 2 nice full glasses per capsule. So that means like maybe up to 4 glasses of water in that 30 minutes before you're eating. So I'm guaranteeing there's so much water in there, right? And again, you could look at it like 1 glass with that capsule, 1 glass after the meal, something like that. If it's, you don't really want to be slamming water, sipping is better throughout the day than to be gulping massive amounts of water. As a side note, like if you have pee night issues, the gulp versus the sip literally changes the signal to the kidneys. So smaller sips will mean less peeing. Okay. And that's a good thing, because the kidneys, we don't want them actually too stressed with too much water. It will alter your antidiuretic hormone. But with this, because it's a fiber and it's growing and it's grabbing water, it would start with pretty significant amount.
What if someone can't swallow pills? What do you suggest?
Okay, so one, I'm just going to caveat this. This is actually a bigger story and a bigger problem, right? Not being able to swallow means typically one of 2 things. We have low vagal tone, which means that person's vagus nerve is not as strong and activated, which means they're going to have a fight or flight startle response, be more apt to be anxious and not calm themselves. It's not good. We want vagal tone to be strong. They'll have poor digestion. They'll have poor organ function. They're going to have a lot of issues. So that's a whole other thing. Look, Google, DuckDuckGo, look up how to YouTube,
PubMed or what is it? Yeah.
Yeah, don't PubMed. No, I got free videos on YouTube. We got this so much free. How to increase vagal tone. There's things for that. Now, the other issue, so it's very common in children, especially children on the spectrum, sensory deficit disorders, autism disorders. They have a real issue. The other issue is an airway constriction issue. That's legit. You can find a functional dentist. You can get a CT scan. You can look. People will literally change their whole posture to create air. So when you see people like doing this, sometimes it's just about they have to open air. That's coming from the mouth, actually. It's coming from a small palate. This is a much bigger issue and it needs to be addressed because sometimes if they only have 6 millimeters of space, they can't swallow, okay? But, so that's a bigger issue. I don't want people, they can message me or don't message me, I'm sorry.
No.
They can call my office.
Make an appointment.
Yeah.
So what should they do?
So
like even people with gastric bypass and that kind of thing,
Gastric bypass is a non-issue too,
Okay.
but so real simple. I mean, you just twist the capsule and it opens, okay? You can twist the capsule. Now, here's a hack. Somebody said, what's an interesting idea? Because if you want to shorten the time and not use 30 minutes and do like 15, 20, open the capsule, throw in some water. I use a frother, right? Oh God, I forgot to take it. My food's here. Throw it in some water, use a frother, mix it, and I just slam it down, right? So now I've eliminated the dissolve time. I can make it be a little bit faster. You can put it in water. You can take like a spoon, not a giant bowl. Take a spoon of like yogurt or a fruit puree, applesauce, berry puree. Everyone's got a Vitamix nowadays. Open and put it there and take the capsule and pour it on top and put it in your mouth and swallow. Drink the water. Don't sit and mix it in a giant bowl. The thing's going to swell up and be disgusting.
Okay.
Right.
That's good. No,
So
I
those
think
are a couple
awesome.
solutions. Very easy. Another hack somebody said, it was interesting. Take the capsule. She's like, well, maybe just take like half the capsule and just swallow the half thing open. I'm like, you could do that to avoid it, like even mixing it. I'm like, try it. I haven't done. I pretty much try everything to know what it tastes like or feels like.
Well, I sent you the dissolution test, and every batch has to pass a dissolution test to be able to be sold to us. Okay, it just has to. And it was like it just dissolved at 25 minutes. So is that the reason that we need to wait 30 minutes before? Is really just to make sure that
you'll have to have the thing dissolve and get big.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole point. So the viscous fibers are he's busybody. The viscous fibers need time and fluid to expand, turn to the blob.
And it really is, it is best to take on an empty stomach, right? Like really it is. Like if people, like you're saying that their food's here, will it still work if they take it right then?
So a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. It won't have as much. It's like thyroid medication. If you're on NP thyroid or Armor, you're not supposed to take it with food, but sometimes shit happens. You take it anyway, and not as much is going to get into your bloodstream, but what is the solution? Don't take it? No, take it. You forgot when you woke up, so take it now. So yeah, it's still going to have some effect. It's not going to have as much, but some is better than none.
Okay. Right? No, I think that's good. Are there some people that you would suggest start with the lower dose? Or should everyone start with 2 and 2?
Yeah, I think the vast majority of people are going to be a 2 and 2 and just go with it. Drink more water. If they notice that water retention, weight issue, or any gas, bloating, any GI, because it's just fiber, and they're like their digestive system isn't used to that because it does slow the digestion a little bit, then back it off to the 1 and 1. Okay. I think for people that have like if you're down to like 5 or 10 pounds, okay. And so in my mind, if somebody thinks I only have 5 or 10 pounds to lose, I question if they even need to lose weight, right? Because there's a lot of different thoughts about people thinking they need to lose weight and they really don't, but we got that. I would probably in that 5 to 10 pound per cookie, you need to stop it. I would probably start 1 and 1. So they're already lean, right? It's like, probably better off, you already know it. Like, I got to lose 10 pounds, 5 pounds. I'm right at the end. Let me let it go. Go ahead. And if they were lucky enough to run, or prudent enough to run their leptin numbers, fasting leptin, optimal on that is 5 to 10. Anybody in the 11, 12, 13, I'm questioning, they're probably leptin resistant. 14 and up, they're going to be you're leptin resistant. Okay. And I have people that have severe leptin resistance and obesity symptoms, like always hungry, never satiated, never satisfied at 14, and other people at 55, right? It isn't actually, the number doesn't matter that much, the moderate to severe. It's like, well, it could be 30 and you don't have as many symptoms as somebody is 14, but it's where it shouldn't be. We want to get it 5 to 10, basically. Somebody who has a low leptin, like 0.5 to 2.5, I'm a little nervous about, because there's one of two things that is typically happening. One, that's a danger signal a little bit to the brain. It's not optimal. Suboptimal is low. It's not, their labs will say it's normal. It is not. A 1, a 0.5, 1. Okay. I want to ask them question. Are you hungry? Do you feel like you're starving? That's often people who have what that means is to the brain, there's very low body fat. You need to go eat. There's not enough on me. Okay. That's what it is. Now, you can have people who are overweight that have those numbers that low. That's coming from a chronic low calorie type things for years, if not decades. Eating disorders fall into that category. So somebody with a history of anorexia, bulimia, things of that nature, severe calorie restriction, HCG diets, things like that, 500 calorie diets, too much, without any understanding, they can tank their leptin. That's their body's response to, I cannot keep going through this much famine. So even if they are over fat, the signal now is very deranged, because there's been such deranged behavior for so long. So those are that's the one group of people that their leptin is 1, 2, and I have some of those. They're very thin and they have body dysmorphia issues.
Right.
They think they need to lose weight and they do not. They're 45-year-old women who are already 20% body fat. They're at my goal, and they think they're huge. That's a complicated issue.
It is, for sure. And people how would they check their leptin level? A lot of doctors don't know or don't check,
Yeah, most likely your doctor will never check it, because physicians are only trained to test things that they can treat with a drug. There is no drug for this, never has been. They've tried, they can't do it. So if they don't know what to do, they're like, why would I test that? I have no idea what to do with that. They're like, I don't know what that is. But fasting, you can ask. I don't think they'll pay for it and do it, but it's $50 out of pocket. Quest Labs runs it. So I have everybody just run their own labs. I can get it through DHA. We can order it, but I say I would never wait for a doctor to.
So you can literally go to Quest Labs and request a leptin test and just pay. Okay. That's good to know. I think everyone should. Okay. There are a few people, I really don't know very many, maybe one out of, I don't know how many, 10, 15,000, that are saying, they might get a little heartburn or not upset stomach. I've actually not heard of any of that. It's more gas, or they feel something in their chest or something like that. What would that be for people?
Well, a couple of things. So if they're feeling something like stuck, right, that's a vagal tone issue. We got a couple of things. I talked about that thing. That's some vagal tone stuff, which they most likely have some other issues from time to time. Fiber. So this is, again, a soluble, non-fermenting fiber. So it isn't going to cause gas, distension, bloating. I've actually been stunned at the amount of SIBO patients I've had that are getting massive success. So all I can akin it to is that it's grabbing the bacteria from the small intestine that shouldn't be there. I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that, But fiber does slow down digestion. And let's just talk about, in reality, 50% of all Americans have low stomach acid and are taking an antacid. That's a lot. Okay, chances are a lot of these people who are unhealthy, because if you're obese, you're unhealthy. They've been dealing with low stomach acid chronically for years, if not decades. Some may know it, some may and be taking a bunch of stuff, making it much worse, and some may not know it. But basically, if you're walking around with 50 pounds on you, extra fat, you have congested liver, which means then it signals to your stomach. Your stomach acid should be about 1.5. When it starts getting into 4, 5, 6, that's not good. It means it's not acidic enough. And that sends a lot of deranged signals to everything. You won't make enough bile, you won't make enough pancreatic enzymes. Those 3 things work together based on what the stomach acid says. The stomach acid will control your appetite. It tells you to eat or not to eat because it's a danger signal to not have a lot of stomach acid. And you also end up with B12 deficiency. That's a whole nother thing. These people, so there's a whole big complex thing around that ultimately, I think they should start slower. They should cut it in half. They need to drink more water. And this is a mild solution. This is not going to solve their stomach acid problem, but a weak stomach acid is lemon, apple cider vinegar, or digestive bitters. Those are very common, very easy. And if we're doing weight loss, I would pick apple cider vinegar because that's renowned in having a bunch of other signals around your insulin and glucose metabolism, and it does help you lose weight as well. So it's not a strong acid like taking, betaine, hydrochloric acid, but I wouldn't want people to do that without getting some support from somebody to know how to do that. But once again, you can go to YouTube video and you can say how to do a burp test to test my stomach acid. And it's a free little thing. You'll do 3 days in a row with some baking soda or powder. I always get it wrong. And it's really simple, and you'll time how long it takes you to burp when you put this alkaline stuff in your tummy. Because when the stomach acid isn't really strong, like it should burn through, we have the same stomach acid as vultures and coyotes. We're scavengers. We're designed to eat rotten meat with no problem because the acid is so strong, it'll kill anything. Okay. Humans should not be getting food poisoning. The only reason you get food poisoning is because you're stressed out, you don't sleep, and you drink alcohol and take antacids, so your stomach acid's crap. Okay. But look up that burp test and you'll be like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen. And then from there, you can kind of go down your rabbit hole or talk to your doctor, work with your health coach and be like, I discovered I have low stomach acid. And the chances if you're listening to this and you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, you do. Mm-hmm. So that's why and that's why some people will see the capsules in their stool, let's say. They'll have that burp response because their sphincter doesn't close because the stomach acid signal isn't there to tell it to close.
Would they'd be better just to open the capsule?
I think it would. Well, yes, but I still would reduce it. I would still.
So what about at nighttime? Could those people take it before bed? A lot of people are having great success taking it.
So you can't. Well, the problem, yes. So you're only going to get half the effect, which is fine. You're going to get the anti-inflammatory adiponectin effects. You're not going to get the leptin effects, because there's no food you're binding, but you will get the anti-inflammatory effects. That's why a lot of people are saying, I sleep better. My joints pain is better. I have more energy because pain is exhausting. Inflammation is exhausting. Brain inflammatory disorders. That's what I do for a living. Okay. Your depression is a brain inflammation problem. Your anxiety is a brain inflammation problem, right? It's all brain inflammation. So you can do that. And the concern is to take it and then lie down, though. We could agitate that with that, if the issue is a GERD response, right? So I just would say evening, make sure you're, up vertical enough, long enough to versus laying down, and then the stomach would leak open because your valve is not open and not closing properly.
Well, is there anything you want to add? I know, I appreciate you doing this, but anything you want to tell people or add that we didn't go through?
It's my turn. Well, overall, I was going to say, I got surprised when I was even hearing people come to me with any like complaints or weirdness like we're talking about, because the doctors on my team are insanely excited because the results we're seeing overall across the board are amazing. And I guess because we don't have a strong startle response, or we have no reaction to like, okay, so a couple little pounds of water weight, all you gotta do is do this, blah, blah, blah. So I guess because we're so used to like, whatever, that's not a big deal, because look at this, overwhelming majority of people, outrageous results. Just they're feeling good again. They're feeling inspired. They're taking inspired action. They're starting to like, they have some hope. So that gave them some more motivation. The amount I get so many, the problem with weight loss is people don't want to show their pictures. You know, they're embarrassed. I'm so ashamed of this. So I get a lot sent like, this is just for you. You can't show this to anybody. Make sure. And I'm like, I really want to show it to people. Like, you know, like, what are you going to show it? Right. So I have so many people on the product where, I mean, especially the men, they're belly fat. I think I'm on a mission. I'm like, if a man can't see his penis, you've got a real problem, bro. You know, like there's our health test. When you look down, do you see your toes or not? Right. So I'm so excited. And the doctors, again, what we're about to kind of launch for doctor training and onboarding, the implications of what this is doing for longevity are extraordinary. And let's just talk about in terms of it's not beyond weight loss and other things that it's helping to do. What it's doing to help resolve inflammation systemically, amazing. Inflammation in the gut. When people ask me the question, something like, is this good for irritable bowel, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis? I'm like, what part of everything I've said have you missed? It's literally anti-inflammatory. That's exactly who should be taking it, right? Like, what part of what is bad about, what is wrong with me? Like, I got to understand what I'm not saying, right? So what we're looking at in terms of adiponectin, that story is probably, to me, more exciting than even leptin. And the implications on cardiovascular disease prevention, overall health management with increasing adiponectin is outrageous. Then you have to extrapolate what's been done in the mice studies and how this acts like metformin in terms of increasing making you make more mitochondria, increasing foundational species such as Akkermansia in the gut, activating the AMPK longevity pathway. I know many of you don't know what that means, but doctors literally almost, I won't say something inappropriate, but I was going to, like, just, I mean, it's like wet dream moment for many. They're like, what? I'm like, I know, right? Like, that's insane. I'm like, I know. And because not that I have anything against metformin per se, but a lot of people are afraid of something that it's a drug, right? And so when you can leverage that, and some, you know, there are some issues with pregnancy and PCOS and things like that. Well, how this can be leveraged for longevity, for cardiovascular health, for gut microbiome balancing is very impressive. And so it does have benefits for staying on it. There's things to be said for that. Some people will be at a 2 and 2. Some people will be at a 1 and 1. Some people may be 1 a day. Like for those low leptin people, let me backtrack. I probably didn't say it. I'm not saying they can't take it. I would start them at 1 a day. And I would monitor based on their hunger. If you have insane hunger, if you have cravings, I felt like I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it. We were like, girl, if I don't have a Dairy Queen, I'm gonna kill somebody.
I couldn't stop eating. Like,
yeah, I was like, I'm eating like 4 times a day. I don't know about what's happening here. It's because we were taking too high of a dose for where we are on that last little bit that we're doing. And my leptin was optimal. You know, I'm already low 4, right? So, and I started taking it before I had my labs back, and I'm like, oh, I need to back it off a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I use it like it's 1 and 1, unless I know if, let's say I'm going to eat something, like if I'm going to, like Thanksgiving, I'm like, I'm eating the sweet potatoes. So I'm going to take 2. And she has a gluten-free cake of some sort for me. So I'm eating that too. Right. So I took 2 because I knew I was going to carb it. And I don't eat a lot of carbs, you know, but so that's what I'm like, okay, if I know I'm going to do that, I'll take the 2, even if I'm on a 1 and 1. And I think for some people, even 1 a day could be pretty potent for maintenance. So we're not really going to know your dose until we know your maintenance to your maintenance. And that's the thing they're working on. What Danielle is most concerned about is figuring out dosage. So the next new studies and the next new kind of beta groups, it's like, okay, we know women and we know these obese women, but what about men? What about kids? What about the dogs? Whatever. So dosage is going to vary, and there's a lot that goes into it. I do a lot of genetic testing, and I look at pathways that people's medications run through, and I just did 3 of them today, and I got to go, well, your serum levels get twice as high as somebody else. So a 50 milligram dose of Prozac on you is like 100 milligrams. We need to be aware of that. So you really need 25 milligrams. We can look at the genetics ahead of time on this kind of stuff. I don't have it on this, so there's not going to be a genetic test on this, but everybody's a little bit different. And you really do need the experiment of 1, n equals 1, and your individuality of how your digestive system and your diet and your sleep patterns and how your resting metabolic set point kind of is. You know, when you've been 180 pounds for 10 years, your body thinks it's supposed to be 180 pounds. So we're trying to trick it into going down to 130, where it's supposed to have, where it used to be when you were, 22. And that takes time. People have got to understand this. If you do that too fast, like every Biggest Loser candidate on that stupid show, they all gained it back and more because it was too rapid, it was too extreme, it was unsustainable, and it lowered their resting metabolic rate, their basal metabolic rate, how they burn calories to do that extreme thing, and they couldn't maintain it. So the idea of people, how long do you have to be on it? If that's the question you're asking, that's really letting me know your mindset around your health. And if that's the first thing out of your mouth, because I know the difference when I have these women who are 300, 400 pounds, and they're starting to like, I don't care what this costs for the rest of my life. If this is how I'm going to feel, my sister was like, when I put her on bioidenticals, I don't care what I have to do, Stephanie. I will never come off of that. I don't care what it costs, because I like how I feel now. I don't like how that felt. So when you really have value and understanding, well, what does it mean to you? Is this just about crash dieting to go to some high school reunion? Well, if you want to do that, knock yourself out. But your bad patterns and your bad habits and your poor mindset around it and where you're putting your body and your own value system, it's going to show up and it's going to rear its head again. And I kind of go with, I hate to say it, this kind of lets you get away with eating things again, eating a little bit more carbs and stuff that some people, women, we get to a point, you're like, I look at my kids eating mac and cheese and I gained 5 pounds. People are cooking for their family and they're like, I can never eat anything I cook for my family. It's horrible. Or then they just give up and say, screw it. I'm just going to be fat because I can't not have a birthday cake again. I don't want to not have a glass of wine on Sunday dinner.
It's a horrible mental place to be for people.
Yeah.
You feel trapped.
Yeah. And I get it. If you think suddenly at 50, all hell breaks loose and now I can't ever smell a croissant. Like,
that's my favorite.
Right. You know what I mean? All the foods are right. So I think just for that idea, especially as women, especially men do not go through what we go through. The radical hormone shift where we do become leptin resistant, we become insulin resistant, weight gain becomes very easy, calories have to go down. That's a shock to the system. And I say, I don't want that shock. I'm a biohack and bypass it to the dying day.
But these are also people that drink the pumpkin spice latte every day. They want to know if they need to stay on this healthy.
Yeah. I know. There's like, when I calculate, you spend $300 at Starbucks a month. Like, what? I'm like, that thing is $7.
Right.
I make my own coffee. So whatever.
No, I get it. And I feel the same way. I the fact that we can stay on this long term and it's safe. And effective, I feel amazing. I'm doing it for those things. Like you and I have talked, we have parasites, we have, you name it, and we can stay on something that actually is doing so much more than just fat loss,
The anti-inflammatory adiponectin, AMPK, mitochondrial stuff is really, really fascinating to me. And a little bit of support on the gut microbiome is very impressive. People probiotics are not doing what they think they're doing. They're really wasting a lot of money. They can be used therapeutically. They can be used the right way, but most of what you're doing is actually damaging your gut. And that's where this is reestablishing. And so, let me say this: the people who've had any loose stool, diarrhea issues, it's a very little bit of that. That's letting you know how pathogenic your gut is. It is killing off. It's the same as metformin. It is killing off the bad bacteria and helping regrow the good guys. And if I says, get that poison out of me, that's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing. Short, temporary, if you're so uncomfortable, fine, cut the dose down. But that is not the product. That is you. That is showing you you have a problem, and it's helping you. Your body is grateful to be fixing it. Okay. So we've uncovered the scab. There it is. So sorry, it hurts a little bit, but you got to get through it to get on the other side.
I agree. Well, thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
know everybody, I know we can't see all the million comments, but I guarantee you they're all there. There's gonna be like, Dr. Rimka's inbox. Don't inbox Dr. Rimka.
Just make more work for my staff. I'm not going to answer you.
Right.
I can't anymore. And I'm sorry. And that's because of other people disrespecting my boundaries. It took it away from the good people, but there comes a point I can't be everything for everybody. I try real
And
hard.
you're growing this as a business. Like, this is amazing. And the fact that she is shows us like we are sitting upon something amazing.
Yeah.
Ashley uses the word epic, but it is.
Yeah. The reality is, I honestly, when people get hung up with dumb things around this, I go, clearly you've never taken care of patients. Clearly you've never sat with people on the verge of suicide, psychosis, such severe depression they can barely function. Because if you were to understand what that really looks like, and that you're withholding from your insecurity, your selfishness, or your lack of resilience of not knowing how to handle issues in life, I actually have a lot of tolerance for it. I don't do stingy or greedy real well. You're withholding a solution from somebody that this may save their life.
Absolutely.
And many women are looking, they're looking in the mirrors, and it's not good. It's not good. Food addiction and eating disorders and the shame. I mean, and you're worried about a capsule coming out in somebody's poop.
Well, and or a little rash that comes out. That's your body actually detoxing.
Right.
That's the crazy part. It's actually all of this is
good. It's showing you it's showing you got a leaky liver. That's bile or oxalates. It's showing you what, like, I don't understand that, but that's the culture. I have a headache, take a pill.
Right.
Remember this. If you did that every time your car lights came on, you started putting black tape all over everything. Everybody understands. What kind of moron does that to their car? Why don't you listen to the signal and take it to the mechanic? Everybody gets that when it comes to their car, but when it comes to their body, they just black tape over every signal with some drug. Like, I'll just act like that didn't happen. I'm just going to ignore it. And then we're stunned. Yeah, we're stunned 20 years later, I have cancer. Really? Because you've had headaches for 20 years. Now you got a brain tumor and you're shocked. What did you think taking Tylenol was going to do all the time? Why didn't you say, why do I have a headache? Why does my head hurt? What should I change to make it stop? But that's what it's like. So we've lived in that, cover up the symptoms, take a drug for everything. This is wakey uppy time. And it's been going on globally. And I'm very happy about it, that people are saying, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. You know?
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Our team thanks you. You guys have a great
We'll talk later. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Thank you,
See you
Dr.
later.